In this video we're going to learn how to render glass or transparent plastic. It seems like something hard to render, but in actual fact it's quite simple if you know the steps to follow. One of the things you have to keep in mind is that in terms of the area that's meant to be transparent, there's not much you need to do to that. It's pretty much just white. The areas that you do need to focus on are the areas in the interior of the object, if there are any. You need to make sure that those are correctly rendered using tone. So make sure you pick your light source correctly. So we're going to render the TIC box, or the little TIC package. The first thing we need to do is to select or determine where our light is coming from. So in this case I'm going to select that my light's coming from the right down to the left. Well, we'll get our color first. So I've got my blue Copic marker here. We're going to use the thick side. Now the areas which we need to fill in blue are the ones I'm going to highlight, or outline, sorry. That's an interior casing. And that's our lid. So we're going to do one full coat of that as per the theory of thirds. So we'll begin. Now this is a little trickier because you kind of have to bend your marker as you're going. But remember, confidence is the key. Don't worry about the little areas that you leave white. You can fix them later. So that's our first coat. Hopefully you can see it clear there. Now we have to do our 2/3. So we're going to go from around this area here all the way down, and just this area on the top will be our lighter area. Like so. Now we'll do our dark tones. So it's important that you see that this internal casing has a couple of sides. So the first thing is that this area here has to be darker because there won't be much light going into there, and same as the sides. Also, now we can darken the sort of the underside of the lid, this whole side, and then our whole bottom section of the interior casing. Could get our third coat. Just like so. You can clean it up a bit. So hopefully there you can see that there's sort of lighter tones on the top, real dark. One thing we haven't been saying in the video so far is that the maximum sort of application of Copic marker you can do is 4 times. So far I've done 3, so we could probably get away of doing an extra one just to get a slightly darker effect, like so. Now we'll apply our pastel to get that transparency effect. Pastel's probably the best option because we'll apply it sparely. So what you need to do is you need to get the color you want of your choice. In this case we want to give it that sort of glassy blue finish, so we're going to, I've pre-made some blue on there, but we need to get 50% blue pastel and 50% white. So you just scrape it there. Be very careful, we want to look after the pastels, so don't go a bit overboard. Like so. Then we get our cotton pad and then you mix that together with your index finger or your pointer finger. Make sure you've got a fairly good amount in there. Now what you want to do is apply it on the whole back section of your tic-tac box. We want to leave this side here fairly white and clear, and just apply it across the whole side. Now you can see that's fairly soft. Just for this demonstration, I'll probably go a bit darker so then you can see how we're going to use the rubber to create highlights. Like so. Now we get a sharp rubber, make sure it's nice and sharp, and we're going to rub off and create some highlights. Now highlights by nature are very sort of abstract, so you don't want to keep it too straight. So make sure, what I normally do is try to create the letter N. So you can see there, you can kind of make out the letter N. And also, you can create a nice highlight around the edges. Not on the edge, but just close to the edges, like so. It just reinforces that idea that it's still a 3D object. You can see here that the area we left white kind of gives it a nice finish. Then to finish off, you may want to use a Sharpie, to just go over make sure you use the ruler like so, and you can finish it off. But just to recap, you still have to do your tone work in there. Make sure that you select the correct light source. Make sure that the darker areas where no light will reach, they are dark, and then apply your pastel, 50% blue, 50% white, and then just apply it onto the one side of your object. And then to create your highlights, just rub off, be creative. Generally the rule is just create the letter N, try to emulate the letter N, and also do some lines near the edges, not on the edges, just near the edges that follow the edge, so it gives that sense of three-dimensionality.